That's a nice start to the NBA offseason. I know this isn't the first trade we got because the first trade was Alex Caruso trade, which was a really good trade and an exciting one. But this one's different. The Knicks are not playing around. The Knicks are all in. But my biggest question is, will it be enough? If you didn't know, Mikal Bridges is now finally on the New York Knicks. Him and the Nova boys are all together, and everybody seems as happy as could be. All parties involved, because I think the Nets got a really good package in return for their best player and their franchise player. And I'm genuinely surprised this trade actually happened, given one, I'm surprised the Nets finally got some common sense and realized, yeah, we should probably trade Mikal Bridges for a bunch of draft picks because, in all honesty, no star is going to want to come with Brooklyn just to play with Mikal Bridges. Even if you have the money, and even if Mikal Bridges is actually a really nice second, third option to have on a really good team. And I'm also surprised because I didn't think the Knicks would be willing to give up as much as they did to make it happen. And I understand the price was expensive. I mean, form protected first in 2025, 2027, and 2029, and also 2031. A protected 2025 first round pick from the Milwaukee Bucks, an unprotected 2028 pick swap, and then a second round pick. So I'm kind of surprised the Knicks are willing to do it, but I personally don't have no problem with it. I know a lot of people are saying that's a lot to pay to get a guy like Mikal Bridges, but in my opinion, if you're getting the guy, the player, the person that you want, no price is too expensive to get what you want, especially if you believe this can be the missing piece, the missing link, the final touch to a team that could potentially play for a championship. Because all things considered, if the Knicks were fully healthy this playoff run, they would have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And I personally believe they could have gave the Celtics a run for their money. And now they've really only gotten better. Yes, I understand that they're probably going to lose Isaiah Hartenstein, which was their starting center for most of the playoff run. But that was mainly because Mitchell Robinson was hurt. And not saying Isaiah Hartenstein isn't a good player, because he's really good. And I feel like what every team gets in this offseason will be really happy. But it's like they still have Mitchell Robinson, their starting center. They still have some flexibility if they want to go out there and get an upgrade at the center position. You know, me personally, I wouldn't mind them seeing what they could get for like a Walker Kessler, maybe Mitchell Robinson and one of their first round picks from this year. But it's like they've just gotten better. I mean, and their top 8 is really good right now. I mean, it's Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, and Miles McBride, who I feel like is extremely underrated and not talked about enough with how good he played last postseason, and the type of deal he's on is honestly a steal. Like, they're really paying him pennies to a dollar for what he really should be making. It's kind of insane. And it's not even talking about OG Anunoby, who I personally feel like they're going to offer him all the money he wants, because you don't make that trade for Anunoby if you're not ready to pay him all the money that he deserves and the money that he kind of needs. And the thought of just OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges playing defense together is insane. And I kind of like how the Knicks are building out this team. They're building themselves a team to directly compete with the best team in the East and the best team in the NBA, which is the Boston Celtics. Like, they have the wing defenders to match up against Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. They have some of the guard defenders. They have the guard play to give the Celtics some problems, because Jalen Brunson is Jalen Brunson. He is one of those ones. And he proved it this playoff run by going on a crazy stretch of just 40-plus games, I think back-to-back against the Philadelphia 76ers. So I really like it. And I understand it's a steep price to pay, but like I said, if you think this is the move that can get you to a championship, it's worth it. It's genuinely worth mortgaging your future if this is the move that will. And, you know, the question that I have as the title of this video is, will it be enough? And as of right now, I think it could be. Like, as of right now, in my opinion, they're deeper than the Boston Celtics. While I do believe the Boston Celtics have the best top-end talent, have the better top-end talent, it's like they're deeper. They can go a little bit more deeper, which is key when you have Tom Thibodeau as your coach, because you know he likes to run people into the ground and only plays with people that he likes. And if he likes you, it's kind of a death sentence in a way. And then, like, how they match up with the rest of the East, I like it. Like, as of right now, they're the second best team in the East. Like, Yes, the Milwaukee Bucks next year will hopefully be healthy. Giannis, Dame, and whatever they decide to do with the rest of that roster will be really good, but will it be better than the Knicks? Who's to say? Because we don't know what moves they will make yet. And besides that, it's like the Cavs still have a lot of questions about what they're going to do with their roster as a whole. And it's like, besides that, it's just a bunch of young teams. Oh, then you have Philadelphia, who honestly, depending on what they do, could make the East very interesting. Like if they go out there and get another star, or they say we're just going to get a bunch of really good role players to surround Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, they can make it very interesting. But I mean, besides the Milwaukee Bucks and Philly, it's like it's a bunch of young teams that aren't proven yet. And while I love the Magic, I love the Pacers, it's like they're young. They still need a little bit more time. And they're honestly not as good as the Knicks currently are. So I think it's just going to be very interesting. This team is built up in a way that I think they want to be built. They're going to be a really, really strong defensive team that's going to be able to get the easy buckets because they're going to get turnovers. They're going to get rebounds, especially offensive rebounds. And they have tremendous guard play led by one of the more underrated guards in the league, Jalen Brunson, who after this year has vaulted himself in the top 5 point guard talk. I mean, can you really name 5 guards that played better than him this year? Like off the top of my head, it's really Luka and Shea. Those are the only ones who I would definitively put over him. Besides that, you can make a debate for him and Devin Booker. You can make a debate for him and Stephen Curry. You can make a debate for him and Anthony Edwards. Like the debates can be made. I feel like he is so good that he just needs the pieces around him, and they have the pieces around him. They have the defensive help around him. They have the shooting. And next year when they're in the playoffs, Julius Randle, more likely than not, will be healthy. And like I said, I think I said when I was talking about my biggest questions for each team entering the playoffs, my biggest question for the Knicks was who would help Jalen Brunson with the Julius Randle not being there. And at times, it was Dante DiVincenzo getting hot. Sometimes it was OG. Josh Hart even had a few games where he was hitting some shots. So it's like, if Julius Randle's there, he's a guy that will definitely take the load and the pressure off of Jalen Brunson. And I think that's a big thing being missed because I feel like when we see Julius Randle back next season, it's really going to feel like the Knicks had another offseason acquisition that was Julius Randle, given how much we really didn't get to see him play in the second half of last year. And a lot of people just kind of forgot he existed. Like, I ain't gonna lie, during the playoffs, I forgot about Julius Randle because he wasn't on the court. So now seeing him suit up again this upcoming fall, it's going to be like, oh, wait. They have Julius Randle too? That's a really, really good basketball team. Like the East should be a little worried. I think the East should be like, ooh, the Knicks may actually be getting it together. They have a team that you may not want to play, given they're gonna make it hard to score. Like it's gonna be hard to get buckets against this team. Now looking at the Nets, at the Nets perspective, I love this for them because they're finally committing to a rebuild. I mean, 4 first-round picks is essentially what you were kind of offered for Mikal Bridges, I think, last trade deadline by the Memphis Grizzlies, and you said no. But sometimes being dumb works. Being stupid works. So they still got the same deal, and honestly, a little bit more. They got 5 first-round picks in total, 4 unprotected. And if you're the Nets, now you can finally rebuild. Or if you really want to keep winning, at some point in time, you can flip all these picks and go get you a star. Like it's just possibilities there. Like they are going to be able to do whatever they want after this, given the picks they have, and given the picks they're probably going to get when they continue to gut their roster. I mean, I expect Cam Johnson to be on the move soon. I expect Ben Simmons to be on the move soon. Dorian Finney-Smith be on the move soon. Nicholas Claxton be on the move soon. Like the one thing about this Nets team of last year is that like they were one of those teams that was bad, but it had a bunch of good, solid players that a lot of good teams will want. Like, it was a team just full of really, really good role players. A lot of teams will love to have a Cam Johnson type on their roster. A lot of teams will love to have Dorian Finney-Smith on their roster. It's like they got pieces they can move to go out and get some more draft capital, or maybe luck out and get some young players. Like, I really like that the Nets are finally sitting there and saying, all right, we're going to rebuild. Same way I liked last year when the Washington Wizards finally sat there and said, yeah, we're trading Bradley Beal. Even though it was probably a year too late to do that, given you decide to tank the year after Wemby gets drafted. Crazy. But it's like, yeah, they're finally committing themselves to the rebuild. And I saw something that I'm pretty sure they're getting their own first-round picks back from the Rockets exchanged for Phoenix Suns first round picks, which I think will be a great move for them. Because I remember when I first saw the trade, I'm like, ooh, the biggest winner is the Houston Rockets, given that they own their picks. And that means they're going to have a really high pick in these upcoming drafts because the Nets are going to be sorry and maybe even worse than they were this year. And this year, they gave the Rockets the 3rd overall pick. Kind of crazy. But all in all, as of right now, I love this deal for both sides. And I'm really excited to see how this Knicks team looks next year. I'm really excited to see what else they do. I saw that they were looking at Kyle Lowry, which I think would be a really, really good, backup PG, and also just a good glue guy just to have on your roster in general. So it's like, I think there's still moves that the Knicks could make. I mean, they still have both their first round picks this year, which offers them some type of flexibility to either go out there and maybe get another role player or just draft really well. Because the Knicks have really been good at drafting these past few years. I mean, Miles McBride was a 2nd round pick for them. Like, they've been able to find talent in the later rounds, which is a really good talent to have when you don't have your first round picks for the foreseeable future. When you have a team that's pretty expensive, so you can't always go out there and just add players. So the East is going to be very interesting next year. And this may be the first time we're saying this is in about like a decade, but the East may have to go through Madison Square Garden.